Off top, the single season leader for minutes played in the playoffs is Rip Hamilton with 1,079 in the 04-05 season.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.
Welcome to the Domonique Foxworth Show. Charlie's across from me, and he's going to have to tell you guys about his college inventions. I don't give a damn what we're talking about today, but he told us some crazy stuff before the show started that we have to get to. But we're also joined by Yahoo's own Benny Goodwell. What's up, brother?
What's going on, y'all? I can't wait for Charlie to actually tell these stories on wax.
He's a nut, man. He's a nut. I love him, but he's a All right, I gotta focus, man. What? Why you look so confused?
I got more.
You got more? No way. All right, we're gonna get to the NBA. We're gonna spend a bunch of time on the NBA playoffs. Where do we fit in your ideas? Do we kick off with one idea?
Okay, so here's the background of this: is Domonique has a cold.
I don't have a cold. To be clear. I got sick one morning, and then I told my wife, "Just leave me alone. Give me 6 hours." Let this immune system, because I have a superior immune system. Give me 6 hours, knock it out. So a cold that would have kept a normal man down. All I needed was a nap. Took a nap, knocked that out the park, to be clear.
Okay.
I'm not sick now.
Vinny, he's been hawking up a lung, and
no, you gotta get the dead germs out. So what happened was,
he blew his nose 4 times before we sat down for the podcast.
That's because all the germs are dead, and the body wants them out. To be clear, Vinny, my immune system, I imagine that it's a bunch of 1920s gangsters, tiny little 1920s gangsters, and they run around and they have Tommy guns and they shoot up all the germs, and then they dump them. And I got to help dispose of these bodies, baby. See.
It's Bugsy going on right now inside your immune system right now.
Yeah, that's it. It's just a bunch of big cars and Tommy guns, and a lot of people sleeping with fishes.
I love the genre of
right now in his stomach.
Yeah, that's all right. We got to get rid of them. But I was crushed.
The genre of macho, the pretending you're never sick.
It's not a genre.
I'm team Ashley.
It's not a genre.
Because now Ashley's sick because you pretended you weren't
sick.
She's
not sick. It's not.
Did you get her some Zicam or something?
It's not a genre. I was very sick, and then I closed the door. She went down to the pool. I took a nap. I got up. So you're like rode
LeBron,
my bike to work today.
You're like LeBron when he sprains an ankle and then just ties his shoe tighter and runs down the court like a cyborg.
You're right. Mm-hmm. Anyway, let's tell Vinny about. So we do a Shark Tank style. Vinny, you have to choose one of these ideas to invest in. Which one is it going to be?
Okay. Idea number 1. So when I was in college, I was in my 20s, obviously. And
stop coughing, man.
So I thought about this because I said oftentimes when you have a cold, what makes you feel the worst is imbalances in your vestibular system, in your ears, to which I was roundly mocked for knowing about the vestibular system. The reason I do is because in college I was like, what's $1 billion idea? Solving hangovers for college kids. Can you take a pill that keeps your vestibular system balanced so you don't have any of the headache or like nausea post hangover? Obviously could not invent that. So that was idea number 1.
Okay, that's one.
It's a great idea.
All right, what's the next one?
The chip grip. You know, like a straw that goes on the side of Capri Sun. Well, why aren't Cheetos an adult snack? Why aren't Doritos an adult snack? You don't want the orange powder everywhere. Finger condoms. They're little tiny finger.
Like a joke, man.
You put them on the side of a bag.
So you just all bags come with them.
Every bag comes with it.
You think it would cost a little more to manufacture, but you assume that you would sell more because the only reason why when you go into CVS.
None of these ideas work.
No, I'm just saying the only reason in your mind, the only reason why people pass up the Doritos.
Look at me and look at you.
Damn. I don't want to get dust on my fingers.
But like, look at me and look at you. This is not a thought for you. This is a thought for me. I look at those Doritos and I have to think, is it worth
it? I like you doing calculations. All right, Vinny.
I got more.
Oh, you got more? All right.
Oh, Lord.
Shoot them out, man.
The next one this one actually just turned into Kava. But we had an idea for a Mediterranean Chipotle with the slogan, "It's not grease food, it's grease food."
Did you come with the slogan first or the idea first?
Of course, the slogan first. And then the last one.
Oh gosh.
There's
The last one is this.
Oh yeah, there's another one.
The last one is actually I'm confident there might still be a Vanderbilt student turning in this paper for entrepreneurship class. But my freshman year, they come up with a business idea for entrepreneurship. And it was basically like Uber for tutors. Like there was an app that you needed to cram for a test the night before. You could bring in like the equivalent of a TA to help you cram and like figure it out. That paper did well. It went into a test file. And then a couple years later, it kept getting submitted for A's and a kid tried to start the business. Didn't work.
So Uber for tutors. So all right, Vinny, which one you want to put your money behind? Which one of these harebrained schemes do you want to put $1 million behind?
I'm not a hangover guy, but I feel like a lot of people are. I feel like us three gentlemen are a little too old to be having hangovers, but I feel like there's some 20-year-olds that probably need that. So maybe the first one.
I love it. Vestibular Vinny in the house.
I don't know about the finger condoms. That's a little weird for your boy.
I mean, I feel like there's like a chopsticks or something.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're all good raw dog and Doritos.
Yeah, you just got to lick your fingers and deal with the consequences. It's just the way it is. I'm sorry, Vinny. I don't mean to make you uncomfortable. I know you're a classy gentleman and you're not accustomed to being on lowbrow podcasts like this one. However, when you came down to our level, you're going to be down here in the muck with us for a few hours, man. I mean, not for a few hours. For a few minutes, you're going to be down here in the mucks. We are lick your fingers type of guys after you eat some Doritos.
I tried to do this all off air.
Nah. All right, we can go to
finger. Right. I think that's a Two Americas thing right there.
Yeah, that is for sure.
So I, before the show, wanted to take a step back jumper away from Domonique and his illness, which leads us as a perfect transition to the Eastern Conference, where
Jayson
the Knicks
stunned
step back Jay, little game Jay, and the Celtics. It was a game where, look, we know that the Celtics are the better team, but Kristaps Porzingis went out with illness. Brown is injured. Tatum has an injured wrist.
They went illness to go away.
Porzingis isn't as strong as you. But the Celtics went 15 for 60 from three, which is a feature of the Joe Mazzulla offense. And this is the second series in a row where they don't feel dominant out the gate. What was your initial takeaway on if this is a series now with the Knicks and the Celtics? Because the Celtics were up by 20 at one point in this game.
Well, the old adage, the series doesn't start until someone wins on someone else's home floor. Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, y'all can buy into that. I still think the Knicks probably win one game, and that one game might have been game one. Because think about all the things that had to go right for the Knicks in order for them to win this game. And I know we're all caught up in Stephen A's world saying, go New York, go New York, go. They're going home. Like, that's where they're going. And like maybe, a week? They're playing every other day. So they'll be going home like 8 days. Like, bask in this now. Like, look, Charlie, the one thing I will say is this. The teams that have lost recently in their bid to repeat as champions, they've lost in the second round. Denver lost in the second round last year. Golden State lost in the second round. Like, there's a reason why in terms of, like, player fatigue, franchise fatigue, all those other things. I just don't think this New York Knicks team is uniquely built enough to overcome that. Now, if you tell me that the Celtics will beat themselves like they beat themselves last night, they took 20 shots in the third quarter, 19 of them were from three. And in the fourth quarter, it didn't get that much better. Like, there was no balance, and the Knicks barely just got the game to overtime, a 20-point lead in today's game, unless it's in the fourth quarter. It does not mean that much to me because there's so many different possessions and so many swings. You're 2 threes away from being back within striking distance. 20-point leads back in the day used to be, okay, go warm up the car and we'll wait for you outside. That's not the case anymore. And you still have to tell me if Jayson Tatum just says, you know what, I'm going to go to the basket because there's nobody there. Who's going to stop them other than himself? Same thing for Jaylen Brown. If the only reason this happens is if the Celtics beat themselves.
He just defined the Jayson Tatum experience.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to be clear, Charlie, I don't want to mischaracterize Charlie.
Not a hater.
I didn't say you were a hater. He has strong opinions about Jayson Tatum. Is that fair?
It's time to have a conversation.
First of all, you hit us with
let's hear what's the conversation, Charlie?
Jayson Tatum is an awesome basketball player. He is one of the 10 best players in the NBA. He's had a sustained period of that.
Teeing him up right now. This is the classic. Tee him up. Tee him up so you can knock him down. Okay, what else?
No. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to be on every NBA 75, or when the NBA 100 comes out in 25 years, he'll be on that list. Almost certainly. With that said, the concept of him being one of those guys at the top of the league, a Jokic, a Giannis, a Steph, it's not happening. You get a 6'1" guy on him, he's taking a step back. You get a center on him on a switch, he's taking a step back. So, I mean, he was an abomination at the end of that game. I know that people in the media have tried to write that off. And, he did have the 16 rebounds and the 6 assists. I made a list for you, Vinny.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. All right.
There are 16 guys I would rather have taking a shot in clutch time than Jayson Tatum.
Vinny,
okay.
Have you given Vinny any other lists? One thing, you're learning a lot about Charlie today's episode. Charlie is like a serial killer in that he has all types of lists on his phone, like a real list for the top 23 players in NBA history. And this list, I assume, was born last night. Like, he's not a joke. He makes these lists. There are other lists in there of other ridiculous types of things, like his favorite running shoes. He's got a list of them. Oh, no. The man told me he got a list of the favorite strings for his tennis racket.
That's right.
He has his strings ranked. He ranked his tennis racket strings.
That was a little
serial
weird.
killer, right? Serial killer.
I love that. Definitely.
All right. After you give us these, you must give us one more of your more obscure lists. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Steph, Jokic, Jimmy Butler, Luka, Anthony Edwards, LeBron, Kawhi, Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, Giannis, Durant, Damian Lillard, even on one Achilles, Devin Booker, Trae Young, and Jaylen Brown. I would want all of those as a clutch time scorer over Jayson Tatum.
I mean, basically, you're saying every other really good player in the league you're taking in front of Jayson Tatum, even Giannis. And Giannis
the one name that I didn't put in there was Shea because we don't know yet.
James Harden.
And I mean,
well,
said really good players.
We've seen Jim Harden's movies, right? I don't think there's any doubt on that one. Look, I think the thing is, with those guys, there's a recognition that they're going to take the best shot possible, right? With Jayson Tatum, you feel like you're going to get the same Jayson Tatum, Kobe system package. Dribble, step back, and whether the shot goes in or out, that's just what it is. You know what it is, Charlie? And maybe I'm going to give you credit because you've been hanging out with Domonique long enough. We used to have this conversation about Luther Vandross. We would talk about his curl.
Oh.
His curl wasn't quite all the way right. It was wet, but it wasn't quite all the way right. That's kind of how you might feel about Jayson Tatum. Superstar player, but you just feel like there's just some activator missing, right? I got you.
Yeah.
I remember when I saw Activator in my grandmother's cabinet for the first time. I didn't know what it was. I just thought her hair was wet all the time. I just thought that was just like her hair. I was really little. I was like, what is this blue stuff? Yeah. It's an Activator. R.I.P. Granny.
But by the way, we wouldn't have these Tatum discussions if it wasn't for the Washington Post article where he said he deserved to be the face of the league and all the stuff that came out since.
We would still have these Tatum discussions.
No,
because you've been talking about Tatum since before the Washington Post article.
No,
last year you was crushing Tatum. Year before that, when I said that I thought he was going to come into the season and be the MVP, you crushed me and Tatum for that take. Like, you've been crushing Tatum for a minute.
No, this is not crushing him. Saying he's between the 5th and 8th best player in the NBA. That's not crushing someone.
So you're fair point.
That's like proper. This team is built.
That's not what you say.
This team is built knowing that's what he is.
All right, we got TV Charlie right now because that's not what you actually say. You don't say when you're upset with Jayson Tatum's performance, you don't say he is between the 5th and 8th player in the NBA.
Every time.
You cook him and talk about his Kobe system faking and inability to finish.
Well, this is another discussion. If you're a Kobe system guy, Ant's the only Kobe system guy because you be about it and you don't talk about it. Period. Full stop. End of story.
You don't send them text messages.
No. And by the way, this is why the Celtics are so great because they built a team around these guys that is able to sustain it. They won a championship last year with Jaylen Brown being better than Jayson Tatum for 2 rounds. It's why we're looking at the East and we're like, is it actually wide open? Even if they have an injured Tatum and Brown, this team is so strong and built in such a way that they're not going to miss 45 open threes again.
Yeah. No one's actually concerned about. I mean, if you ask me which of these teams I'd rather to advance, I'd rather see the Knicks advance, which is kind of surprising to me. Yeah.
Have you met Knicks fans?
I'm not sick. Charlie is. Have I met Knicks fans? I have met Knicks fans. I guess I'm not thinking about the fans as much as I'm thinking about the players in the team on the floor. Like the Celtics. It doesn't feel, I guess if there's anybody in the playoffs that I could just like wave my magic wand and say, you win the championship, it's the Wolves.
Yes.
Just because like the future feels so much more fun. The future, the finals feels more fun with Brunson and the Knicks. The NBA next season feels more fun if the Knicks are coming off the championship. And it's multiplied by 10 if it's Anthony Edwards got the whole offseason to act a fool and walk around everybody. See, like if I don't see it happening for either team, but if I could wave a magic wand, out of all these teams that are up here, the team that would be most fun to see do it would be the Wolves, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, Anthony Edwards on the floor represents everything the NBA should want to be right now. Fun-loving, takes the game seriously, goes after it on both ends of the floor. And, you know, like I said before, he got bad kid energy. And you need bad kid energy around all of these choir boys in the NBA. LeBron's a choir boy. Steph's the ultimate choir boy. You need bad kid energy. So I'm 100% with you on this. And if Ant takes down another legend, like another monument after Jokic and KD and Doncic and LeBron, like Jayson Tatum doesn't have a place in that face of the NBA conversation. He's just on the outside of the club looking in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be really fun. And I think it also, like, I was looking at the two, like, favorites for each side. It's like the Thunder on one side and the Celtics on the other side. They do, to Charlie's point, they feel like a different version of a basketball team or a championship level team from what I'm accustomed to. Is like we always had like the star driven team, and that became the most important person and like the protagonist in the face of the league. And to Tatum's dismay, like as good as this team is, it's still a team. It's like a group effort. It's like a group project. It's not you alone the way that we like to picture stars. And there is something, maybe it's my nostalgia, but there is something fun about saying, can this guy reach this level? Because even though Tatum won the championship last year, it didn't feel like he ascended to some new level of player.
He was a human victory cigar for the U.S. Olympic team.
Here we go. Now this is closer to the real comments I get.
I mean, he's not. You're not wrong, Charlie, but you are definitely sticking a knife in and twisting it, right? Like I think there's an aesthetic. There's a personality of the championship teams that he's talking about. Like Oklahoma City, you got to see it last night. Like they tried to math the game to death. They tried to think the game to death as opposed to playing the game. And it burned them. And you're almost like, that's what you get. And then the Boston Celtics, what did they do? We're going to foul Mitchell Robinson 1,000,000 times in a row, even though we're up 20. And what happened? They lost the damn game. Serves you right. Play the game. Like that. I get what you're saying on a bunch of different levels. It's like an ethical way that you play basketball. And there's also this way of like, hey, guys, jump on my back. I'm the guy. I'm carrying us there. And I'm going to look good doing it. There's been very few times. And I mean, like maybe one time in modern NBA history where there was not a jump on my back, guys. I'm carrying us to a ring guy. And that was on the 2004 Pistons. Every other team since I've been alive, since 1984, has had the guy that says, jump on my back, we're going to a ring. The Celtics just killed everybody last year. And Oklahoma City doesn't look like it has that type of individual personality. The personality you think is more so like their GM and like the way they do things.
It seems kind of ridiculous to say with SGA on their sideline or with SGA on the court for them because he is probably likely going to win the MVP, but he still ain't one of the, like he hasn't shown us that level in the playoffs.
Before the playoffs, we said that's why it was one of the people I put on my list of who has the most pressure because there are two paths for players who are MVP players where it's like, are you going to go down the legendary like Kobe or Wade path when you're that level of scorer? Or is it going to veer into this other thing where it doesn't work the same way in the postseason? And so that's why I thought this is an important moment because even though this Thunder team is awesome,
right?
All these role guys are like when that defense was humming and they're up by 14 against the Nuggets, like it's so easy to think about watching that team as a champion, but they aren't built the way the Celtics are. The Celtics are, and it's one of the most interesting thing is that they're built for the math problem, like Vinny said. Those 63s are why over the vast swath sample size of 4 playoff rounds, they're going to keep winning games because they have elite guys who can make threes and there are waves of them. The Thunder have an elite roster, but it's a lot more, at this point, if we're going to be honest, Chet and Jalen Williams are much more like role guys, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has to have more of an offensive load of orchestrating than anyone on the Celtics does, and that's what the big question mark is for it right now. And that's the way it feels to me.
You're saying that SGA has all this pressure on him. I don't think he's going to catch hell from the media if they don't win. Like, we look at Oklahoma City as being this expertly built franchise that's built to contend for now and the future. There's always next year. They're like the reverse Philadelphia 76ers, where the 76ers are like, in 3 years from now, we're going to be really good. Oklahoma City is like, yeah, we're good now, and we're going to be good in 3 years, which also means inherently there is no pressure on you to win today, because you always have 3 years down the road, even for a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's going to win the MVP.
Totally.
It's a weird space that they operate in.
I disagree a little bit, because it's the unique situation of this playoff series. He's going to get named the MVP, and then a real MVP might knock him out. I think the way that sets itself up, like if they happen to lose, and I guess the question I wanted to ask is, are you as confident that OKC is going to win against the Nuggets as you are that the Celtics are going to figure out a way to roll through the Knicks?
If the Knicks employed Nikola Jokic, I would say the Boston Celtics have problems. But because the Denver Nuggets employ Nikola Jokic, the Oklahoma City Thunder have problems. And here's why. That's still the bones of a championship team. That's still, by and large, the core pieces. They've gotten some pieces gone, and that's probably contributed to the reason why Michael Malone isn't there, Calvin Booth isn't there. But Nikola Jokic had a great game yesterday, but did it feel like he was dominant, or did you look up and be like, oh my God, he's got 40 points? It felt like Aaron Gordon had a game. It felt like Russell Westbrook had a really good game. When he decides, I'm going to put Chet Holmgren under the rim, I'm going to put Isaiah Hartenstein under the rim, I'm going to exert force, there's nothing really that those guys can do about it. Like, Chet actually plays him well to be a skinny dude. You remember, like, we had that Street Fighter conversation a couple weeks ago. Yeah. That's who Chet Holmgren actually is when he's defending Jokic. He's stretching them arms out and trying to block a shot. But you can't do that for 40 straight minutes. And Oklahoma City has a bunch of dudes that we feel like can get there and will get there. But we don't look at that team right now as good as their record is. We look at them and saying, Denver can pop them in the second round because they got the best player on earth and a bunch of adults.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I honestly, watching that game, I did feel like Jokic was totally dominant. It was, I thought, Dagnall made a decision, and we should talk about specifically how OKC blew that game. Dagnall made a decision, which he's made before, which is try and make Jokic a scorer. And it was just straight line drives. It was like, okay, I'm going to get the ball at the nail and go to the hoop repeatedly, put Isaiah Hartenstein in foul trouble. We can't put other Jalen Williams on him. Chet has issues with this. And yeah, you miss some of like the crazy Jokic playmaking, but 40, 20, and 6.
But the game plan did not work. Like, the Thunder had that game in control. Like, if Chet hits those free throws, if they choose not to do that foul at that moment, like,
I don't know if I agree with that. Because like this is the time. And Vinny, I wonder what you think. Like, coming off a 7-game series, that's the game that OKC is expected to blow out Denver. The fresh legs in their building, bring those guys in. That's when you put you stomp on them and they go away in the second half and they try and reconvene for game 2. And the fact that they couldn't separate in that second and third quarter and Jokic continued to keep them close. Like, the conditioning on Jokic, like, people have talked about his body type. This is a crazy discussion. He was running the entire game with that OKC team, and that game plan didn't work or affect him at all.
Well, here's the thing. You're thinking about Oklahoma City being rested. I'm looking at them being rusty. And one thing that players like, they like to have their rest early so they can have their rhythm late. And I think that's where Denver is right now. Like, that rest might affect them later on in the series, where you might catch them being tired in game 5 or game 6. But in a rhythm, especially coming off of a game where you kicked your opponent's, you're feeling pretty damn good about walking into another team's building for game 1. I agree with you that it doesn't seem like there's an easy answer to defend Jokic where, okay, we're going to force you to score 40. He's going to score 40 anyway. Like, if you doubled him, he's still going to find ways to spray the ball out. And he's such an opportunistic scorer around the rim because he's a big dude that can get his hands on the ball. He's going to wind up scoring anyway. It's a matter for Oklahoma City. They had to keep scoring, and they didn't score. And I'm not a person that bags on Shai, but he scored 4 points in the last 4 minutes when Denver was charging back. That's a moment where you take the game by the scruff of its neck and you say, okay, I'm slowing this game down, or I'm speeding this game up. I'm taking control of it. Shai didn't do that, and we saw Jokic and then the rest of the team follow him along.
So I was going to be like a little critical of Charlie because I felt like the the characterization of your criticism felt like a little bit like, I don't know, more emotional than like what we actually saw. But then I started thinking about what was my issue with this game, and I ended up at a similar place where it's like the game plan worked, but it's like they don't have it, the experience thing at the end of the game that got in the way. You know, it's like that type of stuff that is hard to quantify, because saying that I felt like Jokic was in control the whole time.
Definitely not in control.
Or like was dominant, or saying that they couldn't put him away, or that stuff, to me, it feels a little flimsy, where it's like they had control of that game until the final minutes. They made some stupid errors. Like, I don't know what the win probability was, but I assume win probability was pretty high at that moment. And they blew it. That's what it felt like.
They're up by 6. Jokic
Dominique,
scored 5 points.
how much of that do you put on coaching?
Like, some of it's on coaching. Some of it's on making your free throws.
Yeah, I mean, the coaching, that felt like they were down when they were fouling that way, and how quickly they were fouling to put guys on the line. And when they fouled, they put Jokic back in the game when he'd been taken out for defense.
That was a mistake.
You know what that says? Because here's the thing. You go out of that huddle into the strategy of, okay, no matter what happens after this, we're going to foul. You didn't expect Shea to get the dunk. What that shows me is you have a coach that expects his players to be basketball robots, as opposed to being able to adjust and play the game on the fly. Like, there's some coaches who teach you how to, interact in every situation, and some coaches who want you to know exactly what to do so there's no variance. And what happens invariably in every basketball game, no matter how you play it, something unintentional happens that you can't prepare for in a timeout before. And that was what happened. So therefore, Oklahoma City does not have players who know how to think for themselves in clutch situations, because the coach wants to control every single variable. That in turn leads to tightness, and tightness leads to you missing free throws, and missing free throws leads to you losing the game that you should have won.
Yeah.
And they won one game in the regular season by one possession. They were so dominant, and they had the best net rating in history. They actually, if you want to talk about the under-seasoning for this team as a championship team, is they actually, it sounds crazy because you're basically saying they killed everyone in the regular season, but they haven't actually had to execute in those situations as often as teams are used to.
Right. And I think that was, I was working my way around to like agreeing with you, but for a different reason. But it did feel like the cliche of being too young and not having this experience. Like, that's what it felt like at the end of that game. This team was a team that had guys who hadn't been proven in these moments. And before the playoffs started, we all kind of marked that as one of the concerns to hold them back. That and Jalen Williams being like their secondary scorer, which, like, man, it looks real rough when the defense is locked in on you and you just got it on the wing and you're supposed to create. It don't look as good as it once did. It looked real rough.
I think you can make that case about all 3 of their best players in that game. Like, Chet had some really rough moments down the stretch with the dropped rebound, the missed dunk, the missed free throws. Shea started the game 6 for 8. He went 6 for 21 for the rest of the game. Yeah. Jalen Williams was 5 for 20 and has been, like, in the last 2 high leverage playoff series, has not been the same player. So, I mean, like, this is a really dominant team that I love, and I love I like watching their defense, and their frenetic defense is amazing. But it's hard not to leave that game with like questions about how dominant this 1 seed is.
Trade everybody.
Just asking the question. So, Vinny, which 1 seed? Just to circle back a little bit on this, which 1 seed do you think feels more vulnerable?
1 seed.
Sorry,
favorite.
Which favorite?
Yeah,
Boston's not a 1 seed. I'm sorry, Cleveland.
Cleveland. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Cleveland looks like the vulnerable one out of all of them, but I'm not. I assume you weren't talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Slip of the tongue.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Oh, I do think Oklahoma City is the most vulnerable because they've lost their last year to a team that we didn't think was but so great in the Luka, Kyrie, Dallas Mavericks, and then you go against another sort of supernova in Jokic, and we think you're too young until you're no longer too young. Like, you go from being the Memphis Grizzlies to being like an old team overnight in the NBA. Like I've said it before here, like the NBA moves faster than ever, quicker than ever. And you can't use the excuse or the reasoning of you're young when you're in these high leverage playoff situations 2 years in a row. You have to show some growth either on the sidelines or on the floor. And last night could have very well have been a trip up. But out of those 2 teams, I think Boston's going to walk. I think Oklahoma City's going to have a brawl on their hands. And they may come out of it, but I still think they have a much more clear and present danger feel to them than Boston does.
There's nothing Charlie wants more than the Nuggets to beat the Thunder. because before
I don't know if I.
no, we had. This
Yeah.
is not about them and the Thunder.
I like the Thunder.
This
a
is
lot.
about you and I having a debate that you conceded to me eventually, and that you might be able to come back and claim victory if Jokic can do it. So we had this conversation where Charlie was adamant that there are series in NBA history where the much inferior team had the player that was so much better that he could win the series. And I put him on the spot. He couldn't come up with one at the moment, but he wouldn't concede. And eventually he looked through the history of the league and was like, yeah,
It's really rare.
it's rare. Like we could get a guy who win a game.
Like Kobe versus the Suns.
Yeah,
and
you get a guy who win a game or two, but not actually.
I got one for you. Hakeem Olajuwon
Mm-hmm.
was not on a stacked Houston Rockets team in '95. Even though they added Clyde Drexler at the deadline, they won 47 games, and they were the 6th seed. They didn't have home court in any series they played in, and he walked down every single series of superior teams and superior superstars. So you would think on his way to a ring, that's the one that you would say, or maybe even the Philadelphia 76ers, who were not a great team when Allen Iverson was there, but he was such a relentless force that he was able to carry them by Milwaukee with Ray Allen and Glenn Robinson and Sam Cassell, and then to the finals where he met up against reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Reality only gets you so far. You know what I mean? That relentlessness only gets you so far. It can get you past the second round, and it ain't going to get you through June.
Yeah, we had 07 LeBron where they made it to the finals and beat the Pistons
that
team, who
one
was
too.
better,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, and the one that I thought of is like, what's more common is that you have that great player, it ends up going 6 because you end up getting like a couple games where the guy just goes nuts. But yeah, before this, in the joke, he was like, well, what would it mean if Jokic went crazy? I was like, average 40, 20, and 8 for the series.
Yeah. It's fun. It's exactly what you said. And I guess maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I wonder, like, when you think about players' resumes, you think about these big moments. Like, we put some years that LeBron had success, but he didn't win championships. We put him in, like, the plus column for him.
Yeah.
This would definitely be one of those for Jokic. I guess how far would he have to go for us to be like, it don't matter whether you get the trophy or not, which you've done this year has been enough for us to count it. Like, lost the coach. The team is not quite as good as
They got 6
else.
players.
Yeah.
He's resuscitated Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, I was about to say, and the 6th player is kind of the prototype for a guy that makes it kind of hard to close in these situations, even though he made the right decision.
Yeah, trust. I mean, look, y'all, I don't know how y'all felt, but when Russ was driving the ball, I was like, pass the ball. Don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah. And then he made the actual basketball play, and I was like, damn. Like, that's a positive there. I don't know if you're going to get that every single time, but to answer your question about how far would Jokic have to go, I think with the way that the bracket has set up, if you get past this team, there's no reason why you shouldn't at least get to the finals, because I don't know if Golden State, if they get past them, has something for them. And we know that Rudy Gobert has nothing for Nikola Jokic. That man sees him and sees 45 every single time. No problem whatsoever. Like, I just think, yeah, it's usually enough to get you past a round. But I think when the way that the brackets sort of shake out and you look at what's in front of you, not that Minnesota isn't a really good team, but when you look at the 1-to-1 matchup, you look at Jokic and you say, oh, this should be enough for you as the superior player, should carry you over the top over an evenly sort of matched up team.
It didn't last year, but I will say that you
can't get popped by the same team twice in a row. That part too.
Oh, that's good. And those two,
yeah.
I mean, we should mention, like, Jokic is, I've never seen him this locked in. Like, I was texting Domonique during the game. Like, he's coaching the team. He's screaming. He's totally involved where everyone needs to go on defense. He's running every single possession he can run. And that will be really fun about a mini versus Denver series if that were to happen. I still think there's a good chance that OKC comes through this. Those are just the two most competitive psycho guys we might have in the league right now. And Ant's going to be like, I'm getting him again. And Jokic is going to be like, I will do anything in my power to not let this happen.
To be clear, when Russell was driving to the hoop while everyone was rooting for him to pass the ball, I was absolutely rooting for him to go to the basket. And,
really?
Yeah.
I love Aaron Gordon becoming Robert Horry,
No.
Green combo.
I liked it after it happened, but I thought the drama of Russell
in OKC,
either finishing this or blowing it, That was so exciting to me as he was drowning. Oh, he gonna try to bang on him. Russ, do it. Then he passed it. I was like, okay, that was smart, I guess.
You know, we're not rooting for the smart play. We're rooting for theater, entertainment, drama, and storylines. Exactly. Look, if I'm staying up this late, you better give me something. I'm 100%. I'm 100% with you. But we knew if Russ would have taken that layup, baby, that wouldn't have gone well.
Yeah, Russ, man, he's bouncing back. I don't know if there's anybody. Wow, I think I would pick Anthony Edwards in Minnesota if I wanted a team to win, but I'm not sure that I'd be happier for anybody than Russell if he got his hands on the trophy and had some big plays. Like, it'll be pretty fun.
To me, it's a 3-team. Any of them, I'd be delighted with them winning. Mini Golden State winning would be really cool. Steph getting another one from this team, and with Butler, or the Jokic Russ thing. I mean, like, Porter couldn't really play in that game, which is crazy. And like, that's the feast or famine guy that we thought needed to be excellent, and that they're going to put on Chet Holmgren, and he couldn't really play. And it's like, all right, we got Russ. We're still going to fight back and win this game.
Can you close us out with one of your favorite lists?
Can I ask one more question first?
Oh man, I want to get to one of your weird lists.
I have one more question first.
All right, fine.
All right.
This Thunder team, a huge one of their selling points, Vinny, was the bench and how deep they were. Mm-hmm. And only Caruso really showed up for the Thunder on the bench. Like, he was the only one and he was incredible in that game. Like, worthy of a shout out. How big of a concern is that if this Thunder team, I know rotations shorten, but if part of what we're sold on was them being able to go 8-9 deep and put in the Wiggins, the Isaiah Joes, the other Jalen Williamses, and those guys be really effective for stretches. If against that Nuggets team, which is really depleted, not being able to really be effective in that game, is that like a big blinking warning sign, or something that we write off as variance for game one?
No, I think less than how deep you go is more about the closing lineup. The fact that they went double big, as opposed to, hey, let's put Caruso out there. Let's put Dort out there and figure things out. They basically conceded to the size of Nikola Jokic, not even the size of Aaron Gordon. And I thought that was kind of a tricky thing. You only play, Charlie, 7.5 guys in the playoffs. That's a little dirty little secret. You may play 9 in the regular season. In the playoffs, it comes down to 7.5. It might be guys who play in the first half who don't play in the second half. And if you can't win with those 7.5 guys, then you got problems. And I think that's where Oklahoma City is. If you can't win with Shea and J-Dub and Chet, that's a pretty talented big three there, even if they aren't as experienced. You don't have, you know what I'm saying? You can't say, well, we aren't deep enough. I wouldn't buy that. Your top guys better show up.
I mean, we talked about this earlier in the postseason too, where like the depth, I think, is more about flexibility than it is about getting more minutes. And to your point, they chose the lineup that they wanted to finish with. It doesn't mean that they have to continue to finish with that lineup. If they determine that the double bigs is not the best way to approach it, then I guess if Jokic keeps running like that, then I don't know why they wouldn't go double bigs, because they get no advantage from athleticism. But like, I don't think that I expected them to play everyone as much as I expect that they have the ability to change and do something different in a way that Nuggets don't. Nuggets, like, you got to do it this way. It's the only way you can do it with Jokic running the show.
Yeah. And by the way, I mean, shout out to what they're doing. Like, you look at the stat line, and probably Murray didn't have the stat line we thought they needed from playoff Jamal Murray, but I thought he kept him in it in the first half, because he was really 14 in the first half. I think he was really hot at the beginning, and they might have been down 22 if he wasn't making shots at the beginning with the OKC guards running rampant. All right, what list do you want?
I don't know.
I
know you have a bunch of ridiculous lists on your phone, so I would like to entertain Vinny with explaining how crazy you are with one of these lists. I don't know if you can outdo strings.
I don't know.
Tennis racket strings.
Hey, shout out Restring, the local brand making the best strings in the game. I'm trying to think of what will get us the most free.
We don't need it.
Top 5 DC ice cream parlors.
Oh, okay. Top 5 DC ice cream parlors. That's crazy. This is an actual list that you have in your phone.
Yes, of course. Number 1, Happy Ice Cream.
Are we going 1 to 5, or you're starting with the top?
Number 1 to 5. You're gonna go. Oh, I guess I go the other way, and I just spoiled it.
Okay, well, forget it. Why would I binary? 5 to 1.
From 5 to 1.
Yeah, you got to go that way.
Number 5, Thomas Sweet.
Thomas Sweet. Yeah. Okay. Strong. That's always a long line down in Georgetown.
Yep. Really good. Number 4, Yellow.
It's not even an ice cream place, but I've had it. It's pretty delicious. Yeah.
It's pretty.
it's elite.
These are actually only like 3 of these are ice cream places. Number 3, 2 Avies. Incredible homemade
That's a
ice
pizza
cream.
place.
Yeah, homemade ice cream that they sell. Number 2, Goodies in Alexandria. It's great.
Never been there.
It's a custard place. Number 1, Happy Ice Cream in DuPont Circle.
Never
Best ice cream in the United States.
Can I tell y'all a really funny story? And I feel like
Please.
the audience will appreciate this funny ice cream story. So I worked for NBC in Chicago covering the Bulls. This is like 6 or 7 years ago. And this is during the cord cutting period. So they were like, we're going to go on like a little bus tour with a couple of players and the coaches and put on like interviews and stuff like that to get them to buy the NBC package. So we stopped in Iowa, which is right at the Illinois border. And on the way back on this bus tour, they said, let's go get some ice cream. I'm the only black person there. All right, y'all. The name of the ice cream place, Whitey's. What did I get? Double chocolate chips with chocolate sprinkles, and everybody took a picture under the Whitey sign. You know who took the picture? Me.
How was the ice cream though?
Okay, it was good though. It was good. Ice cream was good.
Hate is so delicious. Yum. So I gotta tell the truth on Charlie. We record like 2 blocks from DuPont Circle. I feel like Charlie just made this list so that he can get some free ice cream from people down the street. Oh, man.
We've gotten free ice cream before. Shout out Sunday Scoop in Virginia Beach. Yeah. That is incredible, but it's not in D.C.
It was great. He sent us some ice cream. He's great. We got to get some more of that.
Oh, yeah. We got to go down there. Live pod from Sunday Scoop in Virginia Beach one day.
All right, Benny. I appreciate you, man. I hope we can get you back again throughout the rest of the playoffs. Sorry.
I might have ruined it. Benny's never coming back because he met the real me.
Nah, he loves you. He loves you.
No,
all right,
good,
man. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot,
sir.
Charlie. Thanks to all the great producers. Pub, and we love you, and we out.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.